It's time to step inside the Octagon with your host, Ike Feldman.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at the official time. 1 minute, 3 seconds, round number 2. Referee Mark Goddard steps in and halts this bout for your winner by TKO, Corey Sandhagen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Whoops. Sorry, Mr. Dan Hardy. This ain't the Dan Hardy show. We ain't going full reptile. It's your boy, Ike motherfucking Feldman. What's up, everybody? The Octagon is back on video in the fancy green screens. I gave you a taste on Saturday on my beautiful residence compound. Oh my gosh. I told the snipers to take a day off. I told the watchdogs to go watch rocks. I've been playing too many video games. Shout outs to Metal Gear Solid. And I think it's Konami is the company that made Metal Gear Solid. Holy crap. As real as it gets. Not UFC. MGS. Metal Gear Solid. I'm going to put down the joysticks. I'm going to turn on the microphone, turn on the lights, camera, action. Your boy, the Octagon, at Octagon, Ikettagon. You got it, kids? I need the bouncing ball so you guys can follow across the bottom of the screen. Octagon everything. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Octagon.com. Everywhere. This week, I'm going to boast a little. 5 for 5 last week. I told you. Adolfo Vieira, Billy Quarantino. Was it Marcus Gourmand? I forget the Polish fighter. I think it was his debut. But I don't know if it was his debut. Well, he put on a freaking beautiful Kimura, a very advanced jiu-jitsu Kimura against UFC badass Jeremy Stevens. And we should get to know his name. So we'll just call him Gamrat. That's his last name, at least. And then Cupcake, Miesha Tate returns in the co-main event for UFC Vegas 31. Man, that's the most exciting storyline I got coming out of last Saturday, so I'm going to save it a little. The main event, and shout outs to Marion Reneau for her retirement, fun career. She's a pioneer in a sense that she's dished out some beatings. She's taken some beatings, and she's still ticking, and good luck to her in the next step of her career. Who knows? Maybe she'll start a podcast. Maybe she'll join Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan will force her to make a podcast. But good luck to Marion Reneau. And in the main event, Thiago Moises loses. I told you he was going to lose against Islam Makhachev. Now, I've heard Makhachev. I've heard Makachev. So until the man lets us know what it is, until Ariel Helwani interviews Islam, I'll just call him IM, till he interviews him and lets him know exactly how to pronounce his name. Then we just roll with Islam Makhachev, I think is the common pronunciation. Yeah, I got extra headphones. I'm laying the headphones up, man. It's been a great career. I'm laying them up. No, I'm putting them in the drawer next to the BB guns. I told you, compound. But what a freaking performance. Absolute destruction. Dominates on the ground. Doesn't necessarily dominate on the feet. Kind of moved the chains on the feet. Took everything that Thiago was throwing at him. Gave it back. Wasn't much. But when he got the fight into a clinch against the fence and he could execute his beautiful takedowns, his combat sambo takedowns, he proved that he is not Khabib 2.0, that he's his own fighter and he's got his own skills to be reckoned with. Yes, that was the first cough button. Normally in audio, I can just cough off screen, but you got me. You caught me. So Islam Makhachev, who is Khabib's brother, from another mother, or Mr. from another sister, or something like that. He's been training with Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest MMA fighters, UFC fighters of all time, the Eagle, since his teen years. I believe it's 15 or 16. Abdul Nurmagomedov, Khabib's father, has been training both of them, and he had a plan, father's plan, as people say it. Shout out to Javi Mendez, the wonderful coach of AK, which, if you guys don't know, you should know, has put out fighters Khabib, Luke Rockhold, Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, all UFC champions. And the goal is to make Islam Makhachev the 5th UFC champion. And the timing of this from the father, because even though Javier Mendez runs AKA in the gym and game plans and whatnot, for Khabib and now Makhachev, it's been a little different. The fact that his word outweighs the coach's word. You know, in some the stereotype of a soccer dad or a football dad or a baseball dad, a basketball dad, is that the coach will say something, hey, pass the ball with your right hand, go to your left. Hey, make sure when you drop back, you look to this side first and do that side. But if you're Khabib's dad, his word is number one. And the coach and manager of former UFC champions' word is number two. How crazy is that? And I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. In boxing, you see it a lot. The father-son relationship. Look at the Garcias, the Mayweathers, and it's kind of cool, but at the same time, in my opinion, dangerous, because there's a lot of emotion there. How can you let your son get hit? Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would put that much extra time into the training sessions to study, because it's your own son and you're protecting your offspring and you're young. So maybe you will try that much harder to prompt your son up or daughter up to make them even better and protect them, and throw in the towel when they've taken too much. BJ Penn, his brother was in his corner, and same thing with the Shevchenko sisters, Antonina and Valentina. They're in each other's corner, and it's that much more kick because they've been there since day one. And the same is for Khabib. A lot of people may not understand how much respect Khabib, how much loyalty, how much love Khabib has for his father, Abdul. And I think we will understand the more that time goes, fonder grows the heart. The more that Khabib is away from us, the more we will wish he was near us. I know a lot of people were very hostile towards Khabib after he demolished Conor McGregor, UFC 229, October 6th, 2018, and then jumped the fence. A lot of people just remember the post-fight actions and antics of Khabib. A lot of people wouldn't care to learn about the man pre-fight or post-fight and what he's doing now in his off time. I think we should. And the people that don't show the fighters the respect of understanding their career and learning more about them, they're just casuals. They're just flybys. They're just flat leavers. For the next cool thing, it's Tiger Woods' son is a golfer, and then they just go to golf and they boo golf, or they go to hockey, boo the Olympics. They're boozers, booers and losers. They're boozers. Maybe they booze too. But those people piss me off. It's lazy. It really is lazy. And the people that understand Khabib, even understand Conor and John Jones at the core of their characters, understand that there's more than just fighting. Fighting is just a surface. It's just the 1, 2, 3 times a year that you see them. That's it. There's interviews, there's sit downs, and I see them as much as I can outside of like family members. I'm watching every interview, following them on social media, studying movements, listening to reporters reporting. Shout outs to Brett Akamoto and Ariel Hawani. But people aren't doing as much as I am. And I am here to tell you that Khabib, from what I can gather, is an excellent human being. And it sucks that one of the biggest images of his career is jumping the fence. And look at the fight after against Dustin Poirier, UFC 242. Not only does he immediately donate to Dustin Poirier's Good Fight Foundation, Connor, Bueller. Not only does he exchange shirts and pleasantry, kind of like a international football match that they do at the end, and now NFL is taking that. He jumped the cage, which scared everybody. I'm sure all the sheiks threw their wardrobe back and almost fell off their seats. Freudian slip. And he greeted Dana White and he gave him a hug and he was like, see, I'm not that villain. I'm not that bad guy that maybe you guys have maybe painted me as to the public, the evil Dagestani Russian, the evil Muslim. Khabib is a good-hearted individual, and every interaction I've had, sit-down interviews with him, he's just a very warm person. And when he speaks, I listen. When he tells us he's retiring after beating down Justin Gaethje, beautiful takedown transition to rear naked, mount to mounted triangle, and then he tells his team, no, I need a minute here, bows down to the ground, gives tears, bottled up tears, I'm sure, because his father, it was the first fight his father could attend in the UFC, was the Dustin Poirier fight in Abu Dhabi. That's why I mentioned in front of the sheiks. And his return to Abu Dhabi, October 2020, was not with his father. And a lot of people question if he would take the fight at UFC 254 against Justin Gaethje. Would they push it back? Would he not even compete? But he promised his mother that he would never compete again after the fight against Justin Gaethje. And I was like, oh man, if the UFC goes to George St. Pierre, if they make the fight, could this be the one that gets Khabib out of retirement? George St. Pierre looks phenomenal. He looks like he's ready to fight. But I do believe Khabib when he says he's retired, and it's his mother's plan now that he's going to stay retired. And I respect it. And it will teach people a lot of lessons. Fonder grows the heart. Not only how much we should appreciate him as a fighter, but as a human being and as an individual. How Khabib, I'm sure the UFC's throwing, if Dustin Poirier got $5 million against Conor McGregor, you better bet your freaking butt that Khabib would get 10 to 15 to fight George St. Pierre or the next in line to rematch Dustin Poirier or fight Charles do Bronx Oliveira. You better believe it. But what he's shown throughout his career is that money isn't important. Respect, loyalty, family, and martial arts. And teaching the next generation is important to him. Before I move on to the next generation, Islam Makhachev, his teammate, Khabib is also a huge fan of football, international football, soccer, as Bisbing likes to imitate Americans. Khabib is trying to be, he is an advocate, but he's trying to be the guy that gets MMA into the Olympics. Now, how cool is that? The next two Olympics are Paris 2024 and Los Angeles 2028, which hopefully your boy is there in some facility covering it, because there's a mix of martial arts at the Olympics: judo, wrestling, karate, taekwondo, boxing. Why can't we just put them together? because like we can't do 3 rounds of 50 minutes in 3 weeks. You're going to kill these guys. Okay. So then why don't we use a model that works? Combat Sambo. Not Sambo number 5. Combat Sambo. World champions of Combat Sambo are Andrei Arlovski, former UFC champion. Fedor Emelianenko. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. Fyodor. Got it. And Khabib Nurmagomedov. And Islam Makhachev. Listen to the intro with Islam Makhachev when Bruce Buffer intros him. I believe it's a World Combat Sambo champion. What is Combat Sambo, Ike? Well, it's mixed martial arts. The fights are 5-minute rounds. Ding! Eureka. Not three rounds of 5 minutes. You have to do everything in 5 minutes. When there is a takedown, hold on, let me explain the gear first, the equipment, and then we'll get to the rules. It's a tournament style. I believe they do it a one-day tournament. There could be 2 or 3 day fights, or maybe it's back-to-back fights, but it's a tournament style. And 5-minute rounds, 5-minute fights, excuse me, not rounds, 5-minute fights. The equipment they're wearing, as you see in Olympic and amateur boxing, are the headgear. They wear a gi top, a jiu-jitsu top, a judo top, for those who aren't sure what a gi top is, or a kimono top. They wear shorts and shin guards and wrestling shoes. Do you guys understand this? So boxing headgear, judo kimono, running skivvies, shin guards, wrestling shoes. I mean, they're literally wearing mixed martial arts equipment. And the rules are you can knee wherever the hell you want. You can headbutt, which is amazing. There's takedowns. You can grab the lapel of the gi or the kimono, throw them to the floor, take them down to the floor. UFC fighters that have competed in this, Merab Dvalishvili, shout outs to the Republic of Georgia and Ally Kinta, who's visiting the Republic of Georgia. Islam Makhachev, Fedor, as I said, Andrei Arlovski. And once you take your opponent down to the ground, you have 30 seconds to either pound him out into submission with ground and pound punches, strikes, headbutts, knees, or you can try to go for a submission. You have about 20 to 30 seconds, which is cool. In a 5-minute fight, 20 to 30 seconds, which is about 10% of the fight, you get an opportunity to submit your guy. And it increases the speed of submissions. If you guys notice, Ronda Rousey, who is a former Olympic bronze medalist, why she got fights finito so quickly is because in Olympic judo, judoka, which is somebody who does a judo, once they take their opponent down and they're holding the arm side, this is the neck side here, and this is the arm side. As they throw their opponent and they're still holding the arm, they grab a hold of the arm bar. Boop. So it's about a 5-second move, maybe less. Once you get a hold of your opponent, throw him down, take him down, or her, in Ronda Rousey and Kayla Harrison's case, and you submit them. That's why Ronda Rousey has a 13-second finish, because in judo, it's throw, get a hold of the arm, armbar. And you see that a lot in Combat Sambo, because you only have about 20 to 30 seconds to work on the floor. They're trying to end the fight ASAP, and I think that would be perfect for Olympic MMA, a perfect model for Olympic MMA. If Olympic MMA modeled after Combat Sambo, I think it's perfect. Headgear, you don't necessarily have to do the gi top. It would make for faster action. Maybe not, because you have less to grab up, so it'll be a lot lower takedowns. There are no cage. It is a mat. There is out of bounds, like wrestling, like judo, karate, basically every Olympic martial arts sport, there is out of bounds. And I think it would be phenomenal. I think fighters could do multiple fights in a single day. Even if you do a round a day over 3 rounds, over 3 days or 6 days or 10 days, maybe the winner has to win 5 bouts in Olympic MMA. I think it could happen, folks. I think it could happen, and I think it will. And Khabib is a big advocate. So, switching gears back to the UFC, Islam Makhachev, a absolute killer because of his combat sambo, has awesome cardio, fantastic grappling, beautiful submissions, on par with peak Khabib submissions already in his UFC career. He just moved up the ranks to number 5. It's going to be fun to see what he gets paired up with next. The rumor is that he's slated to fight former UFC champion Rafael dos Anjos, which would be fun. I like the Dan Hooker fight, the Ally Quinta fight, which would be really cool down the road as a Long Islander and a Strong Island MMA promoter. Say Islam becomes the champion. Ally Quinta, who would skip the queue because of his career and his stretch inside the UFC, would come back, maybe fight the number 7 guy and then the number 3 guy. And then maybe we have Khabib's brother fighting Ally Quinta for the UFC title. And Ally Quinta gets a full training camp. Because remember, guys, UFC 223, April 2018, Al took the fight against Khabib on about 30 hours notice, signed the contracts, and was fighting one of the greatest of all times in mixed martial arts, and the only fighter to go 5 rounds and make it out of a championship fight without being finished. So you got to tip your hat to Al. And yeah, so it's fun. It's good times as always in MMA. It's fun to see what's next for Islam. What I'm extremely excited about is Miesha Tate's return. 2016, she became champion UFC 196. She lost the title to current champion, still champion. Wow, that's like 5 years now. At UFC 200 to Amanda, the Lioness Nunes. Got dropped and then submitted. Miesha Tate then took a retirement fight, UFC 205, MSG's UFC debut against Raquel Pennington. I think she lost that fight. Oh, man. How do I not remember? I was in the building for that fight. My goodness. I'm going to say she won. I'm going to say she went out on top. Let's see. Cupcake, Miesha Tate. Did you win UFC 205? Did you win? Okay. She lost. Well, she came back after 5 years. A little under 5. It was November of 2016. A little under 5 years. She was only 29, which is crazy when she retires. And the amount of fights that she's been in. The crazy fights with Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, Amanda Nunes. Holy moly. This woman's seen it all. And she is not to be messed with. She says that mentally she was not in the right spot in 2016, leading to her retirement. Okay, you can understand it and respect it. Again, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. She said she wanted to return in a much better spot. I mean, okay, fair play. Prove it. Okay, you weigh in. You look absolutely shredded. The best shape of your career. Okay, you're proving it. All right, let's see your performance. Okay, newfound angles and footwork and boxing. Still have plenty in the gas tank. You've trained in Singapore. You're a commentator. You seem like you're living the martial arts lifestyle. You're in a right place. You're on a path. You're looking for a title fight. You're not just here to claim a win and go out on top. No, you're looking to rock the boat, rattle the tree. And you got to respect it because she looked phenomenal. Great boxing, as I said, great cardio, great takedown from the fence. Was in a double position, then kind of pulled the far leg inside to snatch up the single, bring in Marion to the ground, and then getting in a dominant position. Mount Marion Renault turned over to belly, and that's a death sentence in MMA. And Miesha Tate put on the ground and pound, slug from the top, and got the victory. And I'm sure she just bursted of emotions after her post-fight interview. She kind of seemed really cool and calm, almost like she knew it was going to happen. And you got to respect it, but I'm sure she just an outcry of emotion when she was finally alone or with her family in a quiet place. So respect to Miesha Tate. The coolest part for me, kind of writing the script for Miesha Tate, what she can do. So she just beat the number 12 UFC ranked bantamweight in the women's division. Why don't we do a Sarah McMahon next? Maybe the number 9, 8, 7 ranked fighter. Someone who's going to get her even more cage time. Maybe even do it a fight night main event, 5-round test. She puts on another great performance, finishes her. Oh my goodness, do a top 3 in Aspen Ladd. Even before an Aspen Ladd fight, Yana Kunitskaya, she's ranked number 7, I believe, number 6. And if she gets past the Sarah McMahon or Yana Kunitskaya, then you can do Irene Aldana, who looked phenomenal at UFC 264. And like I said, Aspen Ladd. And if Amanda Nunes is still champ, gets it done against Juliana Pena, I think it's UFC 266. Oh my goodness. Could the rematch in 2022 for the UFC Bantamweight Championship of the World be Amanda Nunes, Miesha Tate, Dwa? Holy moly. I know I held up 4 fingers. Dwa? Holy moly. I would love that. I think that'd be one of the biggest fights of the year. If you do the biggest fights, there's obviously the John Jones, Francis Ngannou, John Jones versus anybody in the heavyweight division. Corey Sandhagen, Aljamain Sterling 2. We could get into that later. Just, I think that'd be one of the bigger fights next year. So patience, young Padawan, patience. I think the sky's the limit. And my dogs let me know I got to go to commercial break. But guys, real quick, as you heard at the beginning of the Octagon podcast, Corey Sandhagen, that was the knockout spinning wheel kick that led to ground and pound against Marlon Moraes. And then he followed that up by a leaping knee that just put Frankie in the grave. And that was scary. Shout outs to Frankie, one of the greatest lightweights of all time and an all-time legend, a local legend in the Northeast. But Corey Sandhagen on fire, taking that confidence of back-to-back devastating knockouts and now trying to spin it forward into what could be a potential title securing win if he gets past former UFC bantamweight champion TJ Dillashaw, who returns after a 30-month hiatus because of a self-induced PED injection, EPO, and can't blame anybody else. He was trying to do the impossible. He's already lean at 135. He's trying to cut to 125 to be a champ, take out Henry Cejudo. We all know how that played out. Henry Cejudo in 32 seconds got it done. Went on to beat Marlon Moraes at UFC 238 Chicago. He became the champ. He also is an Olympic gold medalist. Henry Cejudo, one of the greatest all time. So though our last image of TJ Dillashaw is him getting his head pounded in Brooklyn, New York, I was there. Remember, that was a top 10 great in mixed martial arts in Henry Cejudo, and combat sport great, an Olympic gold medalist and wrestling, and a 2-division UFC champion. Holy moly. Hats off to you, Henry. And coincidentally, on that same card in Brooklyn, the UFC's first card with ESPN, and that kicked off the 7-year, $1.5 billion marriage with UFC and ESPN. On the prelim card, Corey Sandhagen got it done. It was his 3rd straight UFC victory. And I remember speaking to his coach shortly after that, Elliot Marshall, who former UFC fighter, jiu-jitsu black belt. He told us, look out for this guy, Corey Sandhagen. What do you know? 2.5 years later, he's headlining a card against another Denver resident or Colorado resident in former UFC champion TJ Dillashaw. And this fight is spicy. TJ Dillashaw looks phenomenal. Corey Sandhagen has been on a roll. TJ Dillashaw is one of those crazy madmen who, though people can say ring rust and a long layoff could affect most fighters, not TJ Dillashaw. That guy's mind is a bullet. The fact that he made it the cut down to 125 and he actually competed is just speaks volumes of his career. He's been a champion 6 times. Holy moly. He's fought the best. That's all he knows is just being an elite UFC fighter. You guys see him on the Dockers commercials being thrown around by Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy, do a takedown in your actual UFC fight. But TJ Dillashaw lost in January 2016 to Dominic Cruz, the greatest bantamweight of all time, from WEC, transition into the UFC. And Corey Sandhagen has openly attributed his dynamic striking style to the likes of the greatest bantamweight of all time, Dominic Cruz. It's kind of an in and out, kind of looks like a drunk man, capoeira style, and he's run with it. His footwork's phenomenal. His cardio's phenomenal. He's very rangy. He's long and lanky. And I look for the first round of this fight to be a feel-out process, not only for TJ Dillashaw, because he is a switch stance fighter and unorthodox fighter. The way he throws his kicks in reverse and punches in reverse, incorporates takedowns from switching stances. Corey Sandhagen, it's going to be a mirror, and it's going to be kind of quirky. It's kind of look like old Pong where they're bouncing the ball against each other. It's not going to be much rhythm. They're going to be missing the paddles. And it might take a round. It might take 7 minutes. It might take 2 rounds for them to find their rhythm. But that's okay. We have 5 rounds of this fight. And why is it going to take them a while to find their rhythm? There's a lot of pressure on Corey Sandhagen. If he puts on a dominant performance, the title shot is his next, no doubt. He's sitting there in the queue waiting for Aljamain and Peter Yan to finish their business. Shout out to Strong Island local Aljamain Sterling. Hopefully he gets it done. Not only because he's a local, because I like rematches. And if Aljamain beats Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen beats TJ Dillashaw, the rematch, if you guys forget, UFC 250, Aljamain Sterling looked phenomenal. I think it was under 3 minutes, just a hot knife through warm butter, destroyed Corey Sandhagen. And Sandhagen said he now has a F that mentality, and that kind of changed his career. And he's big into Eastern ideology and being a peaceful guy, but he's now taken I'm going to hurt you mentality into the cage. And we saw the 2 fights after Aljamain when he has this mentality against Marlon Moraes, against Frank Yeager, just absolute killer. He's a murderer in there now. I don't think he's going to kill TJ Dillashaw. I look for him to win in a 5-round unanimous decision, and DraftKings has that as a plus 650 betting line. I think that's the way to go. I think it's a safe bet. I think the guys are going to at least take 2 rounds to feel out for each other. I don't think DraftKings or Vegas is looking at the styles of these guys, how quirky it is. Though it's flashy, it does take time to download your opponent's movements, and they're going to be downloading themselves, which could take a long time, as you guys will see tomorrow night. So I think a 5-round decision is a safe bet. And I think Corey Sandhagen, the Sandman will step away with the victory tomorrow night. So time for the outro music. Shout outs to my guest, my dog, Rio. I think I had an Amazon fresh delivery, Whole Foods. Shout outs to Amazon. I'm an Amazon lifer. A lot of conspiracists think Amazon and Netflix are in cahoots with this pandemic, but I'm sure their stocks are doing well. And Zoom. Shout outs to Zoom. But great fights last weekend. Storylines, Misha Tate, Islam Makhachev. Always got to throw in some history of UFC and ideology with Khabib. And great fights this weekend. Randy Costa, Macy Barber, prospects returning to the cage. And Corey Sandhagen versus TJ Dillashaw on Big ESPN, 7 p.m. UFC Apex. Boys and girls, friends and family, this is your boy Ike saying, peace.